Human trafficking has profound and lasting effects on survivors. Some of those effects may surprise you. Kalish from Victim Services Toronto is here with a national project to help them reclaim their lives. And we're talking about sex trafficking victims here.
Yes.
And a lot of so once they're kind of rescued from their traffickers, they discover that there are long-lasting financial implications because the traffickers have been using their credit to pay for everything.
That's correct. So there's fraudulent and coercive debt. So coercive is when you are being, of course, forced to open a credit card in your name, something like that, or get a car loan in your name. And fraudulent is when you don't even know that they've opened a credit card in your name or that they're using your name to, to get some sort of credit. And they're using this then to exploit you, right? So they're using that card then to pay for hotels, to pay for cell phones. Even the escort ads in which they're trafficking you from are often paid in a credit card under the survivor's name.
Right. This just makes me so angry.
Yeah.
And it's a way of the traffickers themselves kind of being protected because they're not going to use their credit cards for all of these debts.
That's right. It's a way of saying, well, she's choosing to do it. She's putting it in her name. And then it's also harder then to use against them if it ever does go to court. And then it's also a mechanism to keep people exploited. So, I'm ready to leave the trafficking situation and my trafficker says to me, well, you have $25,000 of debt. How are you going to pay that off? Where are you going to live? Right? And so it's used as both a way to not get caught and a way to keep you exploited.
Right. And that's where Project Reclaim comes in. And even though you're with Victim Services Toronto, this is like nationwide because the problem is across the country. So what do you help do?
So we work with human trafficking survivors and advocates from across the country to advocate on behalf of the survivor to financial institutions and creditors to remove all of the debt that was accumulated and occurred due to human trafficking. We're 90% effective in removing that debt that they have because they were trafficked.
And you say that the credit card companies are really, really good. Like once you advocate on their behalf and they find out, they do a lot of the forensic work themselves too.
There are partners in this. All the major financial institutions, the credit bureaus, like the telecommunication companies, they work in partnership with us to investigate this because they don't want to, collect on this debt either. And so we work in partnership with them to ensure that the trafficking survivors don't have this as an additional burden to reclaim their lives.
Right, and that they're not having to call up every single creditor or credit card company and explain the story over and over and over again of what, because I can imagine like the physical and the emotional and mental trauma of being trafficked.
Oh, it's
bad enough.
Exactly. And every time you get a call from a creditor, it's not just a reminder of, oh, you owe, $10,000 to the 407, for example, which is a true story. It's a reminder of your sexual exploitation. And so it's a trigger of this horrific trauma happened to me. And so anything we can do to remove that burden, we do.
Okay, if people are watching now and they've been victimized by this and they've survived this, what can they do?
They should call Victim Services Toronto and ask for Reclaim, and we will support you in trying to eliminate your fraudulent and coercive debt that's due to human trafficking.
Right, and that's no matter where you are in the country.
No matter where you are in the country.
We'll get all those important links then up on our website, chch.com/morninglive. Carly, thanks very much.
Thank you for having me.